Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday, and welcome to my mid year wrap up. Today, we're going to be going through 13 different questions to summarize the first half of the year, going through all of these books above me. Let me see. I got these questions from Larry Reads, from Larry. I think everybody pretty much gets their questions from her, so if you want them, please do grab them from her. So we've got 13 questions to get through. This was meant to be up yesterday, however, I recorded it and then went to edit and realized I had no audio. Rookie mistake. So we're doing it today. So without further ado, let's get into our questions. With this wrap up, so it's obviously 13 questions. I've got more than one book for every question, and I've tried not to repeat any books I've tried not to repeat any books for different questions. I think we only have like one kind of crossover. Anyway, let's just get into it. So the first question is the best book that you've read so far in 2026. So the first one I've got for this is Beartown by Fredrik Backman, which is the first book in a trilogy that follows Beartown, which is a small town in, I think, Sweden. And their like whole livelihood is ice hockey. Everything for this town revolves around ice hockey. So you're following the ice hockey team, you're following different people within the town. It's very politics, very emotional. So you're following these characters. There's an incident that occurs, quite a tragic incident that occurs, and it basically divides the town into. So you're watching through multiple POVs, how that affects people, the people involved, just the people in the town, everything like that. Very emotional. This whole trilogy did make me cry. Just bear that in mind. The second book we have is Red City by Marie Lu. This is book one in, I don't know if it's going to be just a duology or how many books is going to kind of be in this, but we're following alchemy. So we're in modern day LA, but with alchemy. So you're following Sam and Ari, who are childhood best friends. They are then both indoctrinated into two rival gangs. So in this world, we're focused around sand. Sand is a substance that if you take it, it enhances your like most prominent characteristic. So Ari, for example, is very charismatic, so that influences his charisma. So has extremely high charisma. They don't know that each other are part of the rival clans, and we kind of follow their story through that. I love the alchemy side of this, how everything's explained. The world building is phenomenal. To be honest, I would have been happy with this as a standalone when I found out like only the last like chapter kind of sets up a second book to me. But I'm very excited to see where the second book goes, but a very satisfying conclusion from this as well. The next question is the opposite. It is the worst book you've read so far in 2026. I've got kind of a series and then just a first book. For the series, I have the Mountain Men series by Amy Dawes. I've got the first three here. There is a fourth book out and published, but I will not be reading that. In this, I picked these up thinking they were just going to be small town romances, kind of cowboy-esque, but obviously with Mountain Men instead, lumberjack style. No. The basic premise of these three books, well, there's four brothers. One brother is already married and has two kids. The other three live on a mountain. There's going to be spoilers in this, by the way. They basically live on a mountain because they all slept with the same chick. So they live on a mountain and no women are allowed on the mountain. And then their 18-year-old niece basically sets up each of them with a different chick in the books. So in 9-month contract, this is Surrogate and Grumpy Mountain Man. Basically, she's his surrogate. Honeymoon phase is actually book 3. This is childhood best friends, marriage of convenience. So 7-year itch is a destination wedding, dislike to lovers. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. This says enemies to lovers, not enemies to lovers. There's a lot of spice in these. I will say that, like, There's a lot of spice in these. Just nothing about it clicked for me. I didn't like the basic premise. I didn't like any of our MMCs. And to be honest, I didn't really like the FMCs either. Did I read all 3 because I thought they would get better? Yes. Am I going to read the 4th one? No. The 4th one is the niece's book. And she's only like 19 or 20 or something. So, no. The second book on this is To Bleed a Crystal Bloom by Sarah A. Parker. I gave this a 1 star. This follows Royden, I think is his name, or Royerson. And so Oralith, and I'm pretty sure his name is like, Royerson or something. Something with an R. Anyway, this is a Rapunzel retelling, so you're basically following, I can't remember his name. I'm pretty sure it's Royden or something along those lines. And he finds Oralith when she is a baby and takes her to his castle. She basically lives her whole life within the castle. She has a tower, which is her quarters. And yeah, not really a lot actually happens in the whole book. For something that is like, what, 400 pages or something? I don't even know how long this is. It's like 500 pages. Not a lot happens. I came away from this not knowing kind of anything about the world, not knowing really that much about our characters, very confused on a lot of plot points. I think this is going to be 5 books and there's currently 3 out. I'm not reading any more of this. The main problem for me is the fact that he raised her since she was a baby. And then they're like lusting after one another. That was just a bit weird for me. And again, I got nothing from the actual book. Okay, the best sequel that I read in 2026. The first one we've got for this is And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. This is following Delilah and Jackson. He is a weatherman on the news and she is a weather reporter on the TV. They're not rivals, but they don't like each other. Delilah's very outgoing, outspoken, chaotic, like running in the moment, and Jackson's very detail orientated, has a strict routine. He's the carer for his 2 younger sisters, legal guardian, carer, I think it's the same thing, for his 2 younger sisters. There is a storm hitting, I can't remember what town this is set, what city. So there's basically a massive, like, once in a century storm hitting, and their 2 stations get together and go, oh, you know what? Let's send you guys to a hotel in the, like, right where this storm is going to hit, and you guys can report live from there. So off they go to do that, and obviously when they get there, there's only 1 room, 1 bed, the heating goes out, she hasn't packed enough winter clothes. It's such a sweet story. It's very much a winter read, so in Australia this is perfect right now. But yeah, this is just perfect. I loved them, I loved their relationship. There was no, I can't remember if there was a real third act conflict. If there was, it wasn't one that annoyed me. So 5 stars for this one. The second one would have been on my best books, like my favourite book of 2026, except it is the second book. And that is The Jessed Crown by Sarah Hashem, which is book 2 in the Kindred's Curse. Nope, that's the wrong series. In the Scorched Throne duology. So because it's book 2, I can give you kind of a plot synopsis on book 1, which is The Jessed Heir. In this, you're following Sylvia and Aaron. Sylvia is the Jessed Heir. However, she is in hiding because there was a coup and Jessed was overthrown as a kingdom 10 years ago. So she's been in hiding ever since. Magic is basically banned in where she is. Nobody is allowed to use magic, but Jessedy's had magic. And one day in the village she's hiding. Aaron, who is the heir of Nazal, he catches her and basically says, well, we can either take you to jail, you can be a prisoner, you can be tried as a Jessedy, or you can become my champion in the Akala, which is a set of trials, and each kingdom's heir has a champion. And we follow their story from there. The first book centers around the Akala, and the Jessed Crown centers after that. I've lost my train of thought. Can't remember where we're going. This is enemies to lovers to enemies to lovers, which was really fun. I just loved this world. This is based on Egyptian mythology as well, which is so different to anything I'd read before. But yeah, I definitely loved that, and the audiobooks are really good as well. Okay, we now have the opposite. So we now have the worst sequel you've read so far in 2026. So again, I've got a couple for this. So I've got Sweet Venom by Rena Kent, which is book 2 in her Venom trilogy. Book 3 has just come out. I really liked book 1. This one just didn't live up to the hype for me. You're set in a college, it's hockey romance, but make it dark. And we're also kind of set in a bit of a cult-ish town, I think. Or am I getting this confused? Villains? No, this is right. Kind of set in like a cultish town. There was just so much potential in this, and we just didn't live up to it. I'm not going to really give you a synopsis because it's a dark romance and it's following on from book 1. So definitely read book 1. I will give you a feedback on book 3 though when I read that. I will be continuing this little trilogy. The other 2 are actually books 2 and 3 in a trilogy, and that is the Skyridge Hotshots trilogy, which is by 3 different authors. So the first book is Fight, and that's by Sloane St. James, and I really enjoyed that. The second book is Protect, which is by Paisley Hope, and then the third is Honor, which is by Danielle Baker. I love Paisley Hope, and I have never read anything by Danielle Baker, but I didn't like either of these books. I'm very sorry. This is Firefighters, well, not Firefighters, Wildland Firefighters. The second book follows Rowan and Violet. This is best friend's sister, I think. Yeah, best friend's sister. Best friend is dead. She's also the nurse on his like burn unit when he has an accident, and she is a single mum. This one's also single mum. This is Neighbor. How do we know her? Is this best friend's wife? Yeah, this is best friend's wife, but best friend's dead. And again, single mum. I just didn't like them. I don't really have much to kind of say. I thought they were very bland and boring, honestly. I don't really have anything much. I just dropped my phone. I don't really have anything much to say about them. Alrighty, our next question is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. The first one I've got is Starside by Alex Astor, and I've read Light Lark by her. I read the first 3 books, and I said, no, I'm not interested. I'm not going to be continuing this series. I don't really want to ever read anything by her again. And then Starside came out, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. It's very stereotypical romantasy. I believe there is not a love triangle in this one, which I know is something that really annoyed everybody about Light Lark, was that I think we're on book 4 and the love triangle is still going. Starside, I believe, is not. It is enemies to lovers. I can't remember. I don't know what her name is. I think it's once every 100 years. There's like a magical gate that opens up between like the normal realm and Starside, and so 100 people or 50 people or something get to go into Starside and compete for a chance to win this sword. Do I know what the sword does? Nope. I think it can like change your fate, or you get a wish or something. But Aris, our FMC, is not interested in the sword. She wants to get over there to kill a god. I think we follow her story as she does that. I believe there is a second book coming out in this. I don't know if it's just going to be a duology though. Alex Astor kind of has a habit of saying, yeah, it's going to be a trilogy and then writing 3 more books. So I'm very excited to read that. I just want to give her another go. I think she deserves a second chance. The other one we have is Fever Dream by Elsie Silver. Why haven't I picked this up? It came out in May. I don't know. I just haven't. I think I want to be in the very right mood to read this. In this one, you're following Emmett, who is a professional bull rider. He is the rival of Theo Silver and whatever the dude's name is out of the first Chestnut Springs book as well. I can't remember his name. Crap. I know her name's something. Rhett Eaton, that's right. Rhett Eaton and Theo Silver's bull riding rival. And he is also, and our FMC is Julia Silver, who is Theo's sister. He is entering a kind of bachelor-like competition to kind of get some more money, I think. Yeah, it's a hot new dating show called Romance Ranch. Julia is the location designer, location consultant, and the kind of romance goes from there. I don't know much more about it. I don't really want to know a huge much more about it, but I know it's going to be very good, and I've heard people say it is very good. Not as good as Chestnut Springs, but better than Rose Hill. So I'm super excited for that one. Okay, the next one I don't have any physicals for because it is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I have got 3 for this. There was going to be 4, but I'm a bit like meh on the other one. So the first one we've got is Undone by Peyton Corinne. This is book 4 in the, I think it's called the Unbound series or the Undone series. This is Torrin and Lily's story, and this one she is the coach's daughter, and he is like the dark troublemaker. He's been branded as troublemaker and unreliable and blah blah blah. They are childhood best friends as well. I've loved every book in that series so far, so I'm very excited for that. The Exquisite Torment of Loving Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley comes out. This is book 2 in the Dearly Beloved series. You're following, is it Oriane? And I'm going to have to look this up. I'm sorry, I can't remember their names. I read it like last year. I think it's Oriane and Oris. Let me just find that. Osric and Oriane. They're not really rivals, but they're like part of different factions in different worlds. He's an assassin, she's a healer. He needs a healer. He's got a rare disease that there's no cure for. She's the best of the best and kind of wants to experiment into this, kind of looking at a cure for this, even though everyone's told her she can't. This was funny. The first book was just so funny. It was not raunchy humor, but it was, I don't really know what kind of humor it was. It was very funny, like laugh out loud funny. It was sarcastic. This is a Hermione fanfic or something like that. I'm not really a Harry Potter fan, so I couldn't tell you how Hermione based it actually is. But I really did enjoy that, as I really loved the first one, and now I'm super excited for the second one. It is only going to be a duology, I'm pretty sure. Like, it ends after this. And they do have lovely covers as well. Then the third one, and the one I am definitely most excited for, is Burn of the Everflame. This is book 4 and the conclusion to the Kindred's Curse saga by Penn Cole. I can give you a synopsis for the first book. So in the first book, you're following Diem. Her mother has just disappeared, and she was the healer for the royal family. In this world, you have the Descended and Mortals. So Descended have magic powers. They're descended from gods, I think it is. And they are the ruling class. They are just better than all of the mortals because of their bloodlines. So her mother, Diem's mother, was the healer for the royal family. She's now gone missing, and of course the next best healer is Diem herself, so she has to go to the palace and be the healer for the royal family. We just kind of follow her story from there. Diem is quite a controversial FMC because a lot of people you either love her or you hate her. I quite like her. I didn't find her annoying or anything like that. I do love Luther, who is our MMC. He is just phenomenal. So I'm most excited for that one. My throat is so scratchy today. It's so weird. Our next question is the biggest surprise of the year so far. My first one for that is, well, I'm going to drop the other one. The Dungeon Crawler Carl series by Matt Dinnerman. There is currently 8 books out in this. I have just finished book 5 and I cried like a baby. I wasn't too sure how I would feel going into this. I have listened to all of the audiobooks and I'm going to continue on audio. I tried to read like 2 chapters, I think, in book 4 of the physical, and I was like, nah, I need the audio. Audio is amazing. Jeff Hayes is the best audiobook narrator for this. He does a different voice for every character. Like, it's just amazing. In the first book, you're following Carl and Princess Donut, who is his ex-girlfriend's cat. The Earth has basically been overrun by aliens. They've come down at 2 o'clock in the morning and flattened everything on Earth. All the buildings, cars, everything. If you were inside something, you're dead. All the survivors are offered the option to go down into a dungeon so you go down and you're basically in a video game. It's the Hunger Games, but make it a video game. You are a player in this video game. There's NPCs, quests, prize boxes, sponsors. There's a dungeon AI. There's different mobs. This is so funny. It's just funny. It's just a good time. It is getting quite serious now in book 5. Like, we're getting very emotional, very attached to all of these characters. Princess Donut is an amazing character, I will say. I wasn't too sure going into this. I was like, oh, I'll give book 1 a try, and I ate it up. And the best thing is, my partner will actually listen to the audio of these as well. He's only on the second book though, so I can't really, like, when I'm standing in our kitchen crying because of the ending of book 5, I can't say anything yet. It's alright, he'll get there. The next one is actually a series, and I'm going to hold up book 2 because book 1's in that stack again. And that is the Gods of the Game series by Anna Huang. Book 1 is The Striker, 2 is The Defender, and then 3 is coming out. I think it's called The Goalkeeper or The Goalie, or I think it's The Goalkeeper. I read the Twisted series last year by her, and I wasn't too sure. I didn't really love it. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to read whatever the Kings of Sin series by her, and I didn't really want to read any of her backlog. And then I saw these books in the bookstore, and I went, oh, soccer romance. I haven't really read any soccer romance. Maybe we'll give her another try. Oh, I love these. This whole series. Book 1 and 2 were amazing. Book 1 is Scarlet and Asher. Scarlet is a ballerina. She's his rival's sister and is forced proximity. She ends up having to teach him ballet as part of like a summer punishment for him. Book 2 is Vincent and Brooklyn. Brooklyn is the coach's daughter. This is forced proximity again. She kind of ends up moving in with him after an incident. Or he moves in with her. I think he moves in with her. Yeah, he moves in with her. But yeah, these were so fresh. I've never really read soccer either. But yeah, absolutely love these. They were phenomenal. That is also part of the reason why I'm so happy to give Alex Astor another chance. It's because I gave Anna Huang another chance and she completely blew my expectations. So now I'm willing to try that for Alex Astor as well. Our next one is my favourite new author debut or new to you. The first one I've got here is Shen Tao. This is a debut novel, The Poet Empress. This is based around Chinese mythology, and we're actually using poet magic. So writing poems creates magic in this world. You're following Wei Yin, who comes from a very poor village and is one day kind of offered like, oh, you can come to the palace and try and come through this like trial and be a concubine for the heir apparent, who is called Prince Terran. She said, because she's from such a poor village, she says yes, because then any stipends, food, money can all go to her village. Prince Terran is horrible and cruel. She does become a concubine for him, and our story kind of goes from there. Women in this world are not allowed to read and write because of the magic associated with that and poems. So this is not a romantasy. This is a high fantasy. This is devastating. This is not a love story. I have seen people, and I think even Shen Tao spoken about it, people kind of marketing this as a romantasy. It is not. Please check your trigger warnings. Yeah, not a romantasy, but a 5-star read. It was phenomenal. And for a debut as well. And it's a standalone. So if you want a standalone fantasy, definitely would recommend. The next one, I don't know if this was her debut or not, but she's again a new author to me. And that is Su Lin Tan, and I've read The Daughter of the Moon Goddess by her, which is book 1 in a duet. I am going to be reading the second one. I don't know why I haven't yet. But the writing in this was so lyrical and so beautiful. And I was just like, what on earth? I just sat down and read it. I put like some brown noise on. I was like, this is phenomenal. This is amazing. In this, you're following Xin Ying. She is the daughter of the moon goddess, but the celestial kingdom doesn't know she exists. She has been living with her mother for the past however many years. One day, the Imperial Guard kind of rocks up and she has to run. She has to disappear. She does that. She then eventually ends up vying for a spot as the Prince's Companion. Pretty sure it's a Prince's Companion. I think that's the name of it. Where she basically becomes his friend while he goes through his schooling, like his martial arts training, all of that. And she does this because there's an honor you can get where the kind of celestial king has to grant you one wish. We all know she obviously wants for her mother to be free. So follow her journey as she tries to do that. But the writing was just so whimsical and beautiful in that. Next question is newest fictional crush. This was hard because I haven't really had anyone that I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, add you to my book boyfriend list this year. We picked two, and they do actually have the same first name, which is funny. The first one is Asher Donovan from The Striker by Anna Huang. Just the way he cares for Scarlett, the small little actions that he doesn't expect any thanks for or anything from her are so beautiful, and they just add up so well. He does do something pretty stupid in this, though. I will say that she absolutely loses her crap at him for, and valid. But other than that, he would be a book boyfriend for me. The other one is Asher Reed from Chasing the Fire by Paisley Hope. This is book 5 in Silver Pines and the last one. This one, Asher is the village firefighter. This whole book is accidental pregnancy, and everything he does for her once he finds out she's pregnant is just so beautiful. Everything he's been doing for her for years before that, they're not even together, he just values her as a person, is just so sweet, so beautiful. I loved the fact that we got, instead of a rancher, we had like a firefighter for once. His actions speak volumes. See how like our piles are going down as we go through this. The next one is a book that made you cry. The first one for that is A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. I feel like everybody has probably cried in this. This follows Poppy and Rune. They are childhood best friends, but Rune unfortunately has to move back to Norway with his father for work. The whole family moves. They come back after 2 years, and a lot of things have changed between him and Poppy. Bawled my eyes out. Just no words. Just bawled my eyes out. It was so sad. It was absolutely devastating to me. The second one that I cried to is Unsteady by Peyton Corinne, which is book 1 in, I'm pretty sure it's called the Undone series. This one follows Reese and Sadie. Reese is the captain of the ice hockey team who's coming back from a horrific injury last year, and Sadie is an ice skater. They meet one morning at the rink where Reese is trying to get out on the ice before anybody else gets there because he's having severe panic attacks every time he tries to go out onto the ice. Sadie finds him, and this story kind of goes from there. Sadie is very, I don't trust anybody. She's caring for her 2 younger siblings, and Reese is very, let me love you. And their story, everything they went through together, it just made me cry. How supportive they are of each other and their goals was so beautiful. The next one is the opposite, a book that made you happy. First one I've got for this is Funny Story by Emily Henry. This I listened to on audio, and it honestly just made me laugh. You're following Daphne and Miles. Yeah, Daphne and Miles, who have become roommates after their exes got with each other. And the whole book centers around like funny stories, like how people meet, like their exes got together. Their exes were childhood best friends, and then on Daphne's fiance at the time, Peter's Bucks night, they confessed their feelings for each other, and so Petra and Peter got together. Daphne had to move out of her house because Petra moved in, so she moved in with Miles, which is obviously Petra's ex. And then they get an invite for the wedding of Petra and Peter, and they say yes. Oh, but by the way, we're dating. So it's a fake dating. They're just two very funny people. Just, yeah, I was like listening to the audio, just laughing out loud. The next one is Agnes Orbert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett. This is a cozy fantasy, kind of romantasy. The cats made this hilarious. Their personalities were amazing. Each cat had its own unique personality. Obviously, you're following Agnes, who runs a cat shelter, and she's looking for a place to run a cat shelter out of. She ends up renting a place and then later discovers that the owner, Havelock, is kind of using her cat shelter as a front for his magic business because he is a magician or a wizard. I think it's a magician. Yeah, dark magician. And we kind of go from there with them. But yeah, just the cats in this are hilarious. Both Agnes and Havelock are funny as well. And then the third one is Out of the Blue by Jason June. This is the story between a swimmer and a merperson. So in this world, so you're following Crest and Sean. Crest and Sean. In the law of this world, so mermaids have to come onto land once they kind of hit a certain age, and they have one moon cycle to help a human. If they do that, they can go back to the ocean, become an elder. If they don't, they're stuck on land forever. So we're following these two as they bump into each other, and Sean tries to help Crest, or Crest tries to help Sean to complete this good deed. It's so funny because obviously Crest has no idea how the human world works. So we're watching him try and get used to that. It is YA, it is MM, and it's just it's funny in such a wholesome way. Okay, only 2 questions left, which is good because my throat is killing me. The next one, so the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. I've got 2, one special edition, then just one kind of standard. The first one is Our Perfect Storm by Carly Fortune. I'm obsessed with this colour palette, to be honest. Everything about this colour palette to me is screaming stunning. Like, look at that. I didn't know purple, grey, and yellow worked so well together, but it does. So I absolutely am obsessed with that one. The next one is the Bookish and Spice exclusive edition of Holding the Reins by Paisley Hope. I'll give you a full. I can't remember. I think this came in a subscription box. Yeah, it did. It wasn't a book. It wasn't like, sometimes I'll do just orders of series and things. This one just came in a box, I'm pretty sure. This is the reversed dust jacket. So you've obviously got Nash and Cece. Then again, so you have Cece and Nash. The spine is stunning. I'm really hoping they turn this into, like they do the rest of the series now it's all published. We've got the artwork. She's just so beautiful. And I absolutely love the pink. Obviously, the traditionally published book has like pink font and a pink spine. So I'm saying that's why they've gone with pink. And then I'm hoping if they do the rest of the series, they kind of do that as well. Very lucky last question. And we have 4 books for this, if I can get them down. This is the books you must read in 2026. Yeah, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And I've got 4. First one is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. This follows 2 academic rivals who I believe their teacher ends up in hell and they go down to retrieve him. I think there's a cat. I think there's a lot of humour. I think it is quite intellectual, so I need to be in the right kind of headspace to read this, just purely to take in all the information and the world building and not get bored. Sometimes I do that if I'm not in the right mood. So definitely need to read Catabasis. These books are all on my 26 for 2026 as well. The second one is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which so many people have said this is like her best novel yet. This is set in 1980, and I believe it follows, Joan, and she's studying to become, or training to become, an astronaut. I don't know anything further. It does say a love story on the front, so I'm assuming there's some kind of love involved. I don't know if it's like a friendship love thing though. It might be like a friendship love kind of thing. I'm not too sure. I don't want to know anything else because I think going into this blind is the best way to do it. We have Mistborn by, whoa, the wrong way. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, which is book 1 in the first Mistborn trilogy, and where a lot of people say to start your Cosmere journey. It was on my TBR last month, but I read like 2 books on that TBR. So we did not pick this up. I know barely anything about this other than I think we're using allomancy, which I believe is the magic like of metal, like metal magic. Other than that, I know nothing. I've heard the writing in this, it's very good because it constantly kind of like repeats the magic system, so you're constantly learning and getting reminders of how it works. It is a bit of a chunker, but we will be reading that before the end of the year. I've said it, and we're going to be doing it. And then the last book is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Clyweir, which I believe, I don't know if it's a horror or a thriller. I'm not really sure. Scariest story. It's scary, I'm saying it's probably horror. This one, you're following Charlie and Eve, who've just bought their like first home, I think. And then one day they get a knock on the door from a family, from a guy who's like, oh, I used to live here, like I grew up here. Do you mind if I like show my family around? And they let him. And then I believe after they leave, creepy things start happening. Again, I'm just needing to be in the right mood for this because I'm pretty sure there's like conversations, like radio or like old tapes, Morse code, like all sorts of things in here. Like you really have to just deep dive into this. There we go. That is my mid-year wrap up. I hope you all enjoyed. Maybe got some new book recs. Please let me know in the comments below what is the best book you've read so far this year, or the book you have to read before the end of the year. Thank you so much for sticking around, and you are more than welcome to like and subscribe. Have a lovely rest of your day or night.